Welcome to Own the Chaos.
Chaos Crew.
The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And then there's the Kronos Group. Yes, people, how could I not have a pot stock on this list?
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
All right, we got the top stocks to buy if Kanye wins the presidency.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
That is crazy.
We have a nice super boner, quite a lovely green one.
Over $31.
We have a nice super boner.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
It's good.
We're good?
It's good.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what was up with that.
Whoa, where am I?
Oh, where are you? Well, that's a good question. Hold on one sec. Now we're good. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know what happened. We had like legit echo in the music. So no idea, but we fixed it. I guess whatever the problem was. So what's up, guys? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom over there. You know, just things happen when we go live, right? You just can't control it. Technology is great when it's working. It sucks when it doesn't. But nevertheless, the stock market is crazy chaotic, kind of like this channel, but we've made it our mission to help you own it. If you guys want to see more content like this on how to invest in the stock market, you've come to the right place. Hopefully we earn a subscription from you as well as a thumbs up. And if you're watching already and you already love the channel, make sure you're doing that. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new. Fat Man Zoom, what we got going on today, my man?
It's all vaccine today, friend. So we have, we're going to talk about Pfizer, obviously the distribution yesterday, talk a little bit about the stimulus, and then we're going to get into, we'll probably touch on Moderna as well, because that came out as well. So for those of you guys who it's your first time here, welcome to Own the Chaos. The way this is going to go down is very simple. We're going to be talking about a topic. You guys are going to be asking a million questions, not related, and then we'll get you back on track. No, in all seriousness, we're going to go ahead and we're going to have discussions regarding it, and then we're going to answer some of your questions, but they're going to be related specifically to this market topic. And at the end, we'll touch on the overall market, what we're looking at, what we're trading. And I know you just actually sold something off or thinking about selling off.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. So
yeah,
here we go.
Absolutely. So the vaccine news, we're seeing some of the vaccine actually being distributed across the nation. There was a little bit of touch and go with this because we now have a winter storm. So Maryland's actually going to be getting more than likely a foot of snow. The whole eastern seaboard's got a snowstorm coming, and it's actually impeding some of the ability for people to get the vaccine delivered to them. So there's been some issues with that. We've seen a little bit of choppiness within the markets as a result. We also have obviously stimulus that could be pending coming up. So it's interesting to see how this is all unfolding. But overall, I think people just appear to be rather bullish, especially on both of those fronts, Fat Man Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sort of tackling them one at a time, like the vaccine was sort of the first thing. So Pfizer got the authorization to move forward with emergency use vaccine. And then that was Sunday, it got sent out yesterday, Monday. So I think everybody was kind of watching what would happen, but the response was what we had sort of talked about before, which is this was the first time anything vaccine related that we already had the information ahead of time.
Right.
And so for like stocks, like remote stocks, we thought, well, maybe they're not going to respond the same way they have in the past. And while Zoom did take a brief dip down yesterday, it actually bounced right back.
Yeah.
And today it's holding up quite nicely. And so I think the same thing was shown on the opposite end of that. When you look at stocks like CVS and even Pfizer, which people I think expected to pop, didn't. They actually went in the red.
Right.
And so that's an interesting situation. But that's actually why on our watch list, we put Pfizer in last week. We put it before they voted on Thursday for the emergency use. We didn't put it on this week. And that's why we put Zoom on this week and Friday, actually. So again, you always talk about the market's sort of a forward-looking vessel.
Yeah.
And, you know, we weren't sure that it was going to do this, but it was something that was top of mind, and we felt like it was likely it was going to happen.
Yeah, and you had mentioned Moderna earlier, and if we look at Moderna, it's the same thing's happening. There's some news that's been coming out about Moderna potentially getting FDA approval for emergency use, and soon as that started to become more and more of just a confirmation. Not that we have had official word on that just yet, but it's more than likely going to be a thing. It immediately started selling off, and I think that that's exactly what we're going to end up seeing here. I almost would be surprised if Moderna pops off on approval versus it selling off. There's going to be no surprise to me if we see continued selling off here on Moderna. The move has already been made. When it made that move to $178 a share, that was people buying it because of this emergency approval. People pretty much knew that it was going to happen. I think they would be more surprised if it didn't. So that is why we're starting to see some selling off here. And yeah, same thing with Pfizer. That's continued to sell off. The move gets made before the news gets announced. We always talk about this phrase that's buy the rumor, sell the news. And this is textbook buy the rumor, sell the news between both of these companies. And the opposite can be said for Zoom. Now, when Zoom was selling off in anticipation of this vaccine news, that's what it was doing. It was selling off. So it was almost kind of like selling the rumor, and now we're buying the news, so to speak. So like the damage has already been done to Zoom when it sold off. And so now this is starting to make some really nice moves back up. It's come down just below $400 a share. Made a really nice move today, got rejected at 410, which was a known resistance here. And now it's just kind of chilling at 396. We feel really strongly about Zoom, by the way. Remote work isn't going anywhere. And if you guys want to hear more about that and kind of our thoughts on that, we are going to be going live with our Chaos Crew members, which I just saw. Who we got here? Eris, and welcome to the Chaos Crew. We're going to be going live at 3:30 with our Chaos Crew folks. We're going to be talking a little bit more about remote work and a very special SPAC as well. So if you guys want to tune into that, make sure you're becoming part of the Chaos Crew. You hit the join button next to subscribe. We also provide daily watch lists, all that good stuff. We're also giving away a free Tesla share to our Chaos Crew members on a Sunday that'll be announced. If you guys want to be a part of that, we'd love to have you over. We just cracked over 1,000 members, and we're still growing fast as well. Like it got to 1,000 and it didn't even stop, just kept on going. So we certainly appreciate you guys' support, and we'd love to have you over a part of the Chaos Crew.
And Claire asked about the dividend bot. We have so much good stuff going on.
I know, man.
And we're providing so much ridiculous value. Anybody that's on the fence, I'm to a point where I don't feel bad for you, because there's literally a million reasons why to join the crew, or obviously you can join other communities, but it's to a point where it's just silly, like the amount of things we're offering. So Claire asked about the dividend bot. She's a crew member. Claire, when you go to the 3:30 closing bell private live stream, we're going to talk about the dividend bot that launches tomorrow. So I'll give you that information. That's a members only thing. So only members will have access to the dividend bot for now. It'll eventually launch publicly in 2021. But we have that. We have more exciting news at the closing bell, which is regarding another public account that you guys are or long-term account that we're working on. Just a lot of good stuff. So if you are a member, you go to the community tab, check it out there. If you're on the mailing list, I've already sent out the email, so the link's in the email as well. So all exciting stuff. And I'm actually really excited about the SPAC conversation, because, everybody's been asking about IPOs, but on the, sort of on the DL, we've been talking about SPACs.
Yeah.
And I think we're sort of ready to begin diving into SPACs and sort of what we have uncovered. So excited about all that. What do you say we move on to the next topic?
Let's do it. What you got?
All right. So stimulus. And I think, this is one that's been frustrating for a lot of people. We've been talking about the negotiations and the back and forth. To update everybody, so Congress requested an extension of a week last week to try to pass the stimulus bill. So we're in the current week that it's going to pass. Historically, and I would say over the past couple of months, we've kind of been saying, don't get your hopes up, don't get your hopes up. I believe that the stimulus is going to get passed this week. I believe you have to get it passed before Christmas.
Yeah.
And this is the week to do it. And so if it's all going to happen, it's going to happen now. If it doesn't happen this week, it won't happen until January 3rd.
Yeah.
And so how can Congress literally leave session and go home and go on holidays and allow people not to have stimulus? I don't understand that. So for that reason, I'm thinking it's passing. What do you think about stimulus passing and reaction either way?
Yeah, so all good questions. First of all, to answer the question about Congress going home and celebrating Christmas with everybody else being I don't think it'd be hard for them to do that, considering all things considered. But I think that if there was a stronger possibility for a stimulus to get passed by Friday, then I think that this is it. Right. So I think that, yes, the possibility of this actually happening this week could be there. Now, if Congress goes the Scrooge route and says, F everybody else, have a good holiday, we'll see you next year, it's going to be tough sledding. And so I think you have to ask yourself, especially if you guys are out there watching this live stream, we talked about this a little bit on Stock Watch Sunday, is making sure that you have some cash on hand for the just in case. At the same time, though, I don't want to be out of the market if stimulus gets passed. And I've been saying this for the last couple of months, and I feel like I sound like a broken record, but it rings true. You just don't want to miss out on this when stimulus goes through, because it will send the market crazy, like crazy. So making sure you have some cash makes some sense for the just in case, but also, just don't get into that fear of just like, well, I don't want a repeat of March or April, because that's not going to happen, but there will be a correction of some sort if stimulus doesn't go through. So make sure that you're just kind of hedging a little bit, making sure you're protecting yourself, but don't be out of the market. I think that would just be a silly move, in my opinion. Yeah,
I think I would consider a few different strategies if it were me. One strategy, which I think would be the most common strategy, is pick the stocks you're confident in. Be, like you said, cash. So I would say like 25. I would have like 25+% cash on hand, but I'd have at least a half of my portfolio in equities, and then just have it in the stuff you can count on, that if it goes down, you're getting more. So the Apples, the Amazons, the Teslas, for sure. So like all those things, allowing you to spend the money on the spec plays, I'd probably remove myself. And I've done that. I've kind of removed myself from the spec plays for now.
Yeah.
And then waiting for that to happen. The other opportunity is, and this is for if I'm trying to be really conservative and I really think the correction is going to happen, I'm getting into value stocks with high dividend yields. And that way, if they go down, I get a higher yield and I can dollar cost average in, and the yield becomes better. And then I can play that. That's when I feel like disaster is coming, or a larger pullback than people are saying is coming. However, I'm not in that boat right now. I'm in the blue chip growth, feel confident in these few stocks, have some cash on hand.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and take a look at what we're actually in. So for those of you who don't know, this is our public Webull portfolio. I actually share updates on this with our Chaos Crew family as well. Every day. So every day, if you're part of the Chaos Crew, you see updates on the changes that I've made in the portfolio, all that good stuff. It is a shorter term swing trade. I don't know if I would go as far as to call this a day trading portfolio. This is just a strategy that I employ. I'm a pretty active trader, but it's not every day that I'm making trades. Sometimes I buy something and I won't bother selling it for a week or two, or maybe even a month. But in this case, I did make a couple of changes. One of them was I ended up getting completely out of Square, and then I ended up getting completely out of Salesforce. I took a loss on Salesforce, made a boatload of money on Square, and just wanted to get into some cash. Ended up actually adding to Tesla for the first time in months on this actual dip down here when it came down to 624. Ended up hopping in on this thing. Let's go bring it out to the 4-hour chart. Actually, 624 was a pretty solid support for it, and came down, and sure enough, ended up retesting this area. So ended up averaging up into this in around the high 620s. For the first time, I've averaged up on Tesla in a really long time. Felt weird, but it's so far so good on adding to that dip. I think Tesla is going to make a huge run into the end of the week, and so I didn't want to miss out on that dip.
Yeah, the big ones for me, really Peloton has been the shining star for me this week.
Yeah,
they're getting into the NASDAQ 100 the same day that Tesla is getting into the S&P, and so nobody really even talked about it.
Right.
We've liked it anyways. It hasn't blinked at any of the vaccine information. It's powered on. We love that stock in general. It's been an absolute monster. Penn, I've been in with you as well. Zynga, the community pick, is up 5%. And I know Danny Daniel had shout out Zynga and said that another, just basically thanks us for that one. But the thing with that is that got upgraded today. So it's been doing well. It was up like 12%, and then it got upgraded by Wells Fargo, price target to like $12.50, and it's currently sitting at $9.13, up 5%. That's been a nice little one for me. So those have been the ones that have been shining. Obviously Tesla, I'm like so heavy in Tesla.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, Peloton, I think, was probably the bright shining star, and Penn as well. I mean, I kept thinking about selling out of Penn, and then every time I did, it just kept on running. So at this point, I'm just moving my mental stop up and just kind of figuring out where I want to end up trimming some. At no point do I want to be completely out of Penn, but it's been moving up so much over the last couple of days. It just kind of makes sense. And actually, Penn is moving into Maryland, where we're from. So Penn National is acquiring Hollywood Casino Perryville, which is a little town in Maryland, for $31.1 million. So they're just continuing to make moves. Barstool Bets is continuing to make moves, and we just love Penn National. It's just continuing to rip. This is why we said out of all the gaming companies, we like Penn the most, because of just all the stuff that they have going on. And yes, DraftKings, all the other ones, LCAs, they are making moves, but not quite the same kind of moves that we're seeing with Penn. And it's pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go shift over to the questions. But first I want to shout out a few people, and there's some pertinent questions to the topic, but shout out to Fast Snookaroos in the house.
What's up, man?
Mad Dix, what's going on? Primetime DJs. I know some people are they're asking about Salesforce. So just to comment on a few things you said.
Yeah.
Number one, you were torn about Salesforce, but we're launching this long-term swing trading account. And so we're actually shifting it over there. So we'll get into more details, but we've been talking about how we like to have two accounts, a short-term swing trade and a longer-term account. And so we're going to launch that. And so CRM is moving to that. So we still feel good about that. I know you guys are like saying, hold, it's still a good stock. I think for the purposes of the way Brad trades his account, he wants to free up a little bit of capital, and CRM isn't just moving like we thought it would move.
Just to also from a technical side of things, it's breaking support here. It held really well up above 220, and today it just broke through that. And I was only down like $120, and I had a feeling that this would probably end up coming down lower, perhaps to around 208, 210. Just looking here on the daily chart seems to be the next stop for it. So I didn't want to endure any more pain. Just went ahead and cut it early. That's how you end up managing risk here, is that you taking loss isn't a big deal. It's the size of the loss that you take. And so a couple $100 or $120 wasn't a big deal to me, but I kind of saw the writing on the wall. Just wanted to be out.
Yeah, and the one thing we didn't mention was Rocket. Rocket's been amazing.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about how it feels a little bit different this time. It looks good. And somebody did ask me that they said I got out of specs. Did I get out of Rocket? I actually did not. So you got me on that one.
Is Rocket really a spec though? It's not a spec. It's the largest mortgage lending company in the country. So
I hear what they're saying, but yeah, to be clear, no, I'm still riding through for a while with Rocket. We're not even close to my target on Rocket.
Yeah.
All right. So couple other questions. I want to start with Chris Lav, because he made it's more of a comment about the vaccine. So Chris Lav says, I don't understand closing everything when the vaccine is right around the corner. And I think this is sort of a fundamental misunderstanding of how, I don't want to say of how it works, because we could be right or we could be wrong, and you could be right.
Yeah.
But the vaccine's here. The news has been here. The moves have been made, and the distribution is going to take a long time. So the fact of like getting the vaccine administered to the average person, I don't know how much that's going to move the market. But what do you say, Brad, to that?
Yeah, so the reason that we're seeing more lockdowns is because we're not out of the woods yet. You know, the distribution of the Pfizer vaccine is not a significant amount of doses yet. You know, they are producing more and more, but I was telling folks in our community that, you know, we're not going to see a real mass distribution of the vaccine until probably March, April, that area. So in between that time, people are still getting infected with the disease at a rapid rate, at rates we hadn't seen ever since even the beginning of this entire pandemic. So we're not out of the woods. So people still have to, you know, do the things that they've been doing for just a little while longer. And once we get through this winter, I think that we'll start to see a little bit more things kind of soften up a little bit as far as the lockdowns are concerned. But it's going to be a really tough winter, I think.
Yeah. And the other thing people aren't taking into account that you didn't mention was that there's a big conversation surrounding whether people are going to get this vaccine or not. So when it does become available, I think 50%, this is just a random number off my head, but I think like half people are really saying, I'm not going to get it right away. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And so I'm hearing more of that than the other side of things. And I think that's also going to cause a little bit of turbulence, but vaccine moves made. Now the next thing is, like you said, well, people aren't going back to work yet. Actually, it's going in the wrong direction.
Right.
So, you know, what you need to what the next thing we need to get excited about is when there's that herd immunity with the vaccine, that's when there could be a move. But I think that's probably going to be a slow go. And I think that, like you said, there's going to be some time before that.
It'll be an interesting dynamic. I mean, you have, I think, healthy people that look at it and they're like, well, do I take my chances with the Rona or do I take my chances with a vaccine that has no proof of long-term effects or anything like that? And so I think that that's something that a lot of people are just truly wrestling with, myself included, you know, but there's also this element of like the elderly, people who have comorbidities. It's like, do I take a vaccine that's going to protect me from the COVID, which could kill me, which has been proven to kill me, or do I, you know, go and take this vaccine? And it seems as if the vaccine is actually doing quite well. And the elderly, we're seeing some really good outcomes from those folks who are taking over in the UK. I'm sure we'll start to see more of that here, you know, and without getting into too much controversy, I think it's just genuine concerns that the American people have. And so there is going to be that dynamic that we should take into account going into the rest of the winter.
Yeah, absolutely. Comment that Don made, he said that Penn's my main chick, DraftKings my side chick. It's true. And speaking of my side chick, I think it's going to move. I like it around 50, actually around 48. I don't see it going below that. I think it's going to get a move on. Still, I mean, Penn's still my number one.
Yeah.
It's at all-time highs. It's going to keep moving. And MGM's my number two. They're 1A, 1B. And then there's DraftKings. But if you're thinking about that, I ain't mad at you.
As we were just talking, Penn National hit a new high of the day.
Wow.
Freaking loving it, man. It just keeps printing me money.
I know, man. Well, what needs to print more money is Tesla.
Yeah. It'll do it. It'll move.
I mean, it's funny just to sort of like see how this plays out. And we've had this conversation before. You know, when we first started this, we talked about price targets, and it's insane the numbers that people are throwing out.
Yeah.
And you know, we said when it started, like the very beginning, we said the Wednesday before. Actually, we said start to get in the Wednesday before, or expect that move if you're not in by then.
Yep.
Thursday is really when you should see the move. And so we talked about it being sideways. It's kind of followed like traditionally how we thought it would be. Obviously the initial move was a little bit exaggerated, but outside of that, you know, I think more people were expecting like a bigger move now. And I think a lot of people are surprised, you know, just hearing my comments about it being red today. But the reality is, you know, that's the conversation we've been having. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Down about 1%. It's held up quite nicely. But I think that tomorrow or into the next week, especially, into the end of the week, especially stimulus.
Oh my God.
This is going to be crazy.
Stimulus is going to move Tesla by itself. And then you have obviously the S&P inclusion and all that good stuff. So there's just so many good catalysts coming up for it. It's just, there's no way I want to be out of this. That's why I ended up loading the boat on it today for the first time in a long time. I mean, I've been trimming out all of this time. Then when I saw that dip today, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take advantage of it. And so that was the play I made.
Yeah, that and that one is going to be continued to do well, I feel like. And the big thing is just all eyes on Zoom for me next week. And when the stimulus happens, how that works, that 400 number is going to be interesting.
Yep.
But we talked about this. It's not a popular call right now, but we've done this with MGM. You can go down the list, Spirit Aerosystems, Drive Shack. We don't want to bring it up to you when the move's been made and everybody else is on it.
Yeah. We
want to bring it up to you before it happens, and just sort of like how it's been sitting. I feel really good about it. And like even this, basically the Peloton, the stay-at-home stocks that you're really comfortable in.
Yeah.
Like those are the ones. And we're going to hopefully do a video in the coming weeks about, the stay-at-home stocks that are here to stay. And for sure, I don't think it's going to come as any surprise that Zoom and Peloton are going to be on that list. So, we're excited, looking for that gasoline on the fire that we talk about, that stimulus comes. So hopefully we'll see it this week.
Absolutely. Highway 241. Thanks for the donate, man. Appreciate it.
So, with that being said, I want to touch a little bit real quick on the closing bell, what it's about, and then we'll sign off and we'll get back to that. So, as a click the join button, you become a Chaos Crew member. We do a closing bell where we just dedicate the 3:30 time slot until after the bell close, about 45 minutes, where we look at how the market's closing, discuss our trades, but it's all about answering the questions of the Chaos Crew. So if you're in the Chaos Crew, go to the community tab for that link. If you're interested in joining and getting these questions, I know you guys asked a lot of questions. That's what the closing bell is for. So join the crew. And now's the time, because on Sunday, this Sunday, the 20th, we're going to give away a free share of Tesla to one crew member. So it's going to be a random raffle. We're gonna raffle it off and give it away. I think I've had a few bad weeks of I can't speak anymore.
That's okay.
I'm trying to get it together. I can't.
So just to make you guys aware, it's actually going to be whatever price it closes at this Friday. So if S&P inclusion, S&P inclusion moves this stock up, whatever it closes at on Friday is going to be what you guys end up getting when we announce the Tesla winner. So if you guys want to be part of the crew, hit that join button next to subscribe. If you can't see it there, sometimes we've had some trouble with that, but there is a link in the description as well. It's $5 a month. You get a daily watch list from us, private live streams as we've discussed, also access to the public portfolio via Webull every single day, all kinds of other really good stuff. And that's going to do it for us. Thanks guys for tuning in. For those of you in the Chaos Crew, we'll see you over at the closing bell. And if you like this video, you got some value out of it, we certainly would appreciate a thumbs up on the way out. And that's going to do it for me. My name is Brad. That's Fat Man Zoom. We'll catch you next time. See ya. See ya.